Do you think you're going to catch COVID?
I hope not, but I
Seems
have
like
to
it's a
prepare
matter
myself
of
for the
time.
reality that maybe I will. But I'm scared.
Are you scared? Why are you scared?
I think I'm not scared to catch COVID, but I'm scared if because I have COVID and it
Oh, you
affects
pass it on to
people
somebody
around
else.
me. Yeah, I'm very scared of
Actually,
that.
this is a question I was asking you just now, right? Are we like we even though we're vaccinated, we don't get COVID officially, test positive, but we can still be a carrier of the virus from one person to the other person, right? But how contagious are we? Like, must it be like I touched you and you have COVID, then I touched somebody else and then dun I transmitted COVID? Is
I
that
think
how it
they
works?
say the virus is like transmitted via droplets or something. So it's like if the does that work? Like it's on you and then you kind of like accidentally I don't
Uh-huh.
know.
But then it could die while it's on you in the process of movement, right? So is that
I
why
guess
it's
so, I
less?
guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is
It
if you are
doesn't stay.
infected, then it's contagious more
The
more
chances of
readily.
you,
Chances
yeah.
are high. Okay. Yeah, but it does look like currently, right, with the Delta variant, it's just a matter of time. It's just that those of us who are vaccinated won't get so sick. Yeah.
True.
But is that definitely getting real the past 2 weeks?
Mm,
I feel you're worried about your mom, right? Because
yeah.
she's working at MBS
Mm,
and quite a few different people in different departments have gotten it. And are they
yeah.
vaccinated?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think because I've got friends like pastors in other churches right now, it's getting real because they have like members that
Oh.
either catch it or I think the worst one is when grandparents catch it, like the older folks. Like we have one right now, and it's sad and difficult, like cause they are older. And yeah, actually, I think this is the first time it's getting real for Singaporeans
Yeah.
because we were never a country that had like a high death. We have the lowest death rate in the world, right? From COVID. Yeah. We're the country with the lowest death rate for COVID because we had such good measures. But now I think there's no choice but to open up. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we should open up?
I think, yeah. I think,
Yeah.
yes.
Because I think right now it's feeling like the fallout of other things is getting really high.
Yes.
We've done all we can already. We've vaccinated, but then businesses are closing.
Yeah.
Mental health
Mental
is struggling.
health.
Today they just released Straits Time that all the PSLE students have to take ART, guys. Do you know about that? ART before their test the next day.
Every paper.
Every paper.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine these poor kids? It's so stressful for them. Like I cannot imagine. And then if you are quarantined, the teachers have to reschedule your exam also. That's what I heard. Whatever level you are at. So it's really quite a tough time to be a youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man. You guys are amazing lah. All the youth that are taking exams.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say today, right? So, all our peeps that are listening, right, in church, right? Please don't start complaining like the rest of Singaporeans.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe laugh at it. I think it's very funny how we've come up with so much vocabulary surrounding like our different regular. Because now we're in what? Stabilization period, right?
Yes.
2 weeks ago, it was, what was it? Transition. Something.
Before that was
Heightened
right?
alert. Yeah, I know. I thought it was really quite funny, right? Yeah. Because last year we were joking, right? Remember there was that meme going around because we were still using DOSCON red and DOSCON orange. And then we had like DOSCON orange, terracotta orange, sunset orange because of all the different regulations the government rolled out. And then now it's flourishing vocabulary.
Yes.
Yeah, but I do think it's a good thing because I think it sets the tone. But I do want to appeal to all peeps, right? Not to join in the complaining because there's been a lot of complaining.
Oh.
Like MOH not telling me what to do and all that kind of thing.
Or not on top of everything.
Guys, the system is overwhelmed. This is why everybody needs to get vaccinated. Not just so you don't get sick. And we don't want to worry about you getting sick.
Yeah.
But then when you get really sick, you overwhelm the hospital system and then things like that happen. So everyone needs to just calm down. Unsavory word nearly flew out. Okay, so anyway, what are we talking about today, Karis?
We're talking about anxiety and anger.
Yeah, we don't know what we're calling this episode yet, but we're going to go along that lines.
Yes.
Yes, because we were listening to what podcast?
We're listening to a podcast by Brene Brown where she had a conversation with Amy Cuddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Dare to Lead.
Yes, in Dare to Lead.
And they were talking about COVID, right?
Yes, they were talking about pandemic and how, just like how people cycle through the whole pandemic.
The past
couple years, 2 years.
Yeah, 1.5, 2 years. Yeah, so I found that podcast pretty interesting and very, very helpful to cope with how we're feeling right now. Because I don't know about you, but I've been feeling a little bit down the past 1-2 months. Quite down, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. You're not feeling down?
I'm feeling
better.
Oh no, is that do I feel guilty? No.
Yeah. We tell you later why she said that. Yeah, but anyway, so okay, Amy Cuddy, I don't know what she studies, but anyway, she wrote an article in the Washington Post, right?
Yeah, she's a professor in Harvard, I know.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
For I think 9 years.
Okay. Yeah,
teaching.
So she wrote this article about the scaffold effect, and she was trying to explain to everyone why people are feeling so down this phase of COVID with the Delta variant. And she said because during the first year of the pandemic, all of us, our adrenaline is surging. And so we are innovative, we are creative in chaos, we are adapting, and she calls this the scaffold effect. Okay. And I think actually that's probably why we were having so much sleep problems in the first year. Because the adrenaline keeps going and going.
Yeah.
So now, however, in 1.5 years, our body and mind can no longer stay at that level of adrenaline high lah.
Yeah.
And so add to that, it seemed to be very hopeful in June, July that the world was going to open up because vaccination is going up. Then suddenly the Delta variant hits. And then we're devastated, we're exhausted, we're fatigued, and just feeling crappy lah. So I don't know. Those of you listening, do you feel crappy? You can't hit us up in Instagram because we're on detox. Yeah.
Oops.
So yeah, you're feeling tired.
Comment in the video. Tell us.
Yeah. Yes. So what are your thoughts?
I think just feeling a little drained, definitely, because it's been dragging out longer than we know that it will probably not end so soon, but I guess just the coping with all the changes.
Yeah.
And then with also, don't know what to expect also because there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, we can't tell. Because this is, I think, the first round where we're really trying out opening up and going to endemic. So it's almost really like beginning a new phase of changes, I feel lah. So I think it's going to take Singaporeans a while to adjust.
I think everyone has different response, right? If you see, maybe some is really tired, some is just like don't want to deal with it anymore. Some is like just going on anxious and
or making big changes or
trying
declaring that we want to make big changes in our lives. Yeah, I agree.
So PC, in Amy Cuddy's article, she talks about like the different mechanism that people are coping with like COVID and all that, which I find it very interesting because she talks about how there are mechanism of escaping. So she was saying that people who tend towards anxiety will experience strong urges to change things up. and then Brene Brown said something funny. She said, she said that there's been an increased number of people going to get tattoos.
No, but that's so true. I've been very tempted to go get a tattoo. Like I've been talking about it for years, and then I'm like super tempted to get it done now.
Like people just like, I need to change up my life. Then they quit their job, or I don't know, they take on new hobbies or new things, and they want to be like a completely different person.
Yeah.
And then there are people who tend towards like depression, are feeling compelled to withdraw and shut down.
But you see, that's also me.
Yeah.
I oscillate.
Yeah. So they were saying that we oscillate between these two very much.
And the third one.
And then the third one is there are people who are feeling guilty and ashamed.
This is not me. Is this you?
No, this is not me.
Guilty and ashamed.
Guilty and ashamed because they are happy with where things are at.
I bet you it's all the phlegmatics.
Oh, maybe, right?
They're happy working from home and just doing their thing. Don't have to travel.
And so they're actually, like because the whole world is excited with things opening out, like meeting friends, I don't know, going back to work and stuff like that. And then they are more reticent with the fact that, oh no, it's going to change again. I'm just like happy with how the things are going for my life. And then now, yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I suppose we all have a little bit of all three, right? It's just that we probably tend towards certain ones a bit more.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think we oscillate between the three.
Yeah, so another interesting thing I read quite early on, probably early this year, is there was this article, I think in the New York Times, where they were talking about, and probably most of you have heard this, right? Where when they looked at world history, right, every pandemic or prolonged crisis, or let's say a prolonged war in a stalemate, right,
Yep.
is followed by a high number of people in the population making major changes to their lives subsequently to the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think, again, simple reason, right? Because we're forced to reevaluate what's important to us. And then we're more willing to change up things in our lives. So, well, I guess there's been good lah. There's good where maybe some of us are finding ourselves more. But definitely this year, divorce rate has shot up all across the world, especially in first world nations. Yeah, because I don't think... Well, human beings are not meant to stay still for so chala. Neither do we, I think, say our marriage vows thinking that we're going to get locked in prison at home with our spouse like 24/7. So I think it's really been challenging for people. Yeah. So I think though we do have to be very careful because I tend to have the strong urge to change things up. That's always been me, whether it's pandemic or not. But I do think it's important, and I'm certainly doing this for myself, to make sure that I don't make reactionary changes to my life and to slow down, because the fact is, well, Amy Cuddy said this, right? We will cycle out of this and human beings will adapt. Life will go back to, I don't think a completely new normal, but some sort of equilibrium that is a mix of the old and the new. Yeah, so I think we want to be very careful and differentiate, right? What is changes we should make and what are changes that are really just the pressure of COVID itself getting to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But PC, how do we like identify, what is external forces and then what is the internal, things that we should change?
For me, this is for myself, okay? I think that if you were struggling with a particular issue before COVID, then COVID will just exacerbate. Like, it will just like exacerbate. I don't think that's how you say the word, but like it will kind of like bring it to the fore and force a confrontation.
Yeah.
It will force you to, instead of sweeping it under the table, or kind of when you're moving through life and life is going well, it's easy to kind of say like, this is not a major issue, I can just push it aside. But COVID forces you to have to really come to a head with some of the things and decide, do I need to make a change? Do I need to reevaluate? Do I need to change my boundaries? Do we need to, in a relationship, settle this issue? My barometer, I feel, is if it was around before COVID and it's coming to the head now, it's worth settling it and making a change, or a compromise, or a conversation. Yeah, but I think we want to be very careful that we don't mix up that with COVID pressure. That means before COVID, that didn't exist. Like for example, now you're locked in a space where you're with people, your family nonstop, right? That's not going to be forever. And if you were to kind of like kill certain so I think within those relationships, I'm sure there's some things that need to be changed and have always been there.
Yeah.
But then some of it has to do with just being in close quarters too much. Yeah. So we want to be very careful to sort those things out. And I think that's a good barometer to figure it out.
So I guess it's like, if an existing issue has already been there before COVID, and then you kind of come to a point where you make a decision about a boundary or something like that.
Yeah.
But if it's a heightened kind of feeling or emotions, then most likely you have to reevaluate and think through that.
Let it calm down.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because don't you find that a lot of the anxiety is when you can find a way to calm down, you realize that some of it really is like, okay, things that you should change, and some of it is maybe wait a little bit before you make drastic choices.
But yeah. So PC, would you say that in COVID, actually all our emotions are heightened?
Oh yeah.
Like we're high, low, low.
Because our adrenaline is surging, right?
Yeah.
Amy Cuddy has said it as well, in like fatigue mode, our adrenaline keeps spiking. And I think the tricky thing about COVID is, for example, the example I was giving you was under normal circumstances, if I'm upset about something, I go into the pool, I swim it out, I bring my mind down, and I can solve problems.
Yeah.
But here is like I go and swim, I come out of the pool, I feel happy, and then suddenly I walk into my office and it's like regulations are changing. This is changing. There's been this case and that case, and you need to like react. And so your body can't even calm down. It just keeps getting re-spiked. And if you are hopped up on the news and the media, you're even more so lor, which is why we're doing a social media detox.
Join us.
Yes. Yeah, because I think it's about calming the system down. Yeah, because I find even just 1 week so far we've been doing this like off media, less news. I'm way more calm about my thought process. Yeah. So I think a lot of us are underestimating how much COVID is affecting us.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But PC that said also, like, because of COVID, we are not, I mean, there are people that we are in extremely close proximity, like our families. But there are also people we are in extremely distant proximity, like our friends.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like if we don't see people face to face for a prolonged period of time, there can be a lot of, I don't know, anxiety with how we are thinking, like what people are thinking.
That's a really good point.
And over projecting what they might be thinking, over assuming.
Yes.
And then we throw ourselves into a mess.
Yeah. Because I would say our team is pretty tight. Our leadership team is pretty tight. But
even then.
Yeah. No, but I think the good thing is when we do see each other, we are very honest with that fact. We brought it to the front that, we're assuming a lot of things about one another because we don't have a shorthand of seeing how each other is doing.
True.
So we miss things. We don't ask our friend as often, how are you doing? We assume things from a text, which really, what can you say? What can you figure out from a text a lot of the time?
Yeah. Even Zoom, I guess, is like different. I mean, like even if we have Zoom meetings and all that, it still can't replace the face-to-face interaction.
However, I did hear one professor or researcher say, right, in order to reduce that, the misunderstanding, he said you must frame your Zoom, right, to feel like it's a certain proximity.
There's some science behind that.
And eye level. So he said the
wow.
more direct the facial alignment is, the more you can read of a person. So it's possible to get more out of Zoom than we're getting. But of course, if you crop yourself like that, some people... you know, then you
we're gonna tell our team that you put your face
put
like
your
right
face there,
at the camera.
So I think that's a proximity thing lah.
So PC, what do we do also if we, let's say, are people, I mean, if we fall into the group where we feel guilty? I don't know, like, you know, maybe I feel sad and disappointed with how my life is currently, or anxious about it. But then when I hear someone else's experience, I feel that I shouldn't be feeling sad about my own situation because someone else is going through even more difficult situations.
But it shouldn't be comparative, right?
Yeah, that's true,
Yeah. No, I mean, you were the one who told me Brene Brown said that it shouldn't be this finite.
Yes. Empathy is not finite.
Yeah, that you can feel what you feel.
And in fact, if you embrace how you feel, you have a greater capacity to
she's so good at
embrace
that.
other people's sufferings.
Yeah. But I do think, okay, so I don't understand that thing that you struggle with. You were telling me that this is your thing. Like, if I feel guilty, and But I think from a leadership standpoint, which is the same root problem, I think this whole period, you see, we talk about this scaffold effect, right? But I think the scaffold effect has been very strong for leaders.
True. Yeah.
Like, because I'm in a mode right now where as a leader, I look at my team and I go, okay, if this number of people is not doing well, I cannot not do well because I need to step in and I need to hold up the team.
Yeah.
And there's a practical thing that is true, so to speak, because somebody's got to do the job. We can't all check out.
Yeah.
But I do agree with her, it's not a finite game. Actually, Pastor Chris gave me this really helpful thing. He said the other day, I was asking him how he was doing. And he said his church has decided that we are going to be, we're not going to be production production driven in the way that we run church this season. We are going to be capacity driven. That means if our team cannot handle it, we won't do it. Yeah. And I think we have been doing somewhat of it, but I find it hard to give up 100% being driven.
Yeah,
I feel
yes.
like we need a goal in order to keep moving, at least move a little bit. And not
as
just
long
sit
as
still.
moving is helping us, right?
Yes.
PC?
Yeah,
Like,
I
if we
think moving has
understand
really helped
still,
us.
it's gonna be even more miserable.
I do feel that way. So
Yeah.
I can't do that fully, but I think definitely, I think our team's been quite good with the let's slow down. Like we're about to take 2 breaks.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, when you guys
Surprise,
will know this by
surprise.
the time you listen to this. Yeah, we're going to be taking 2 breaks this year. 1 full break and 1 semi-break. Yeah, because we feel the core people need some rest
Yes.
from having to run everything. Yeah, because they've really been holding up the church. I have to say you guys are awesome and amazing. So please appreciate your leaders and appreciate the core team that holds things up, because it takes work to run this. We cannot just sit back and just do nothing.
Somebody has to lead.
Yeah, somebody has to be the scaffold.
Oh, somebody has to be the scaffold.
Yeah, somebody has to be the scaffold. If not, the whole building comes tumbling down. Yeah.
But I guess also like it's important to kind of like just embrace how you feel and be honest about it.
Yeah.
Like be it the good or the bad. And then I guess like PC, because you were saying about how it's so important to lean on to one another. It is jumping off over the weekend that we are not alone, okay? That we have to kind of lean on one another for strength. And also that means being able to embrace somebody else's suffering, but also being able to share your own one.
Yeah.
I guess that's tricky and difficult, I guess, like in COVID also sometimes. Even though we know things are difficult for everyone, but I guess there's less sharing, I would say.
Yeah, because
even
you
on
don't
our
see
part,
each other
yeah.
face to face. And then you're in this for 2 years. How many rounds can you complain about COVID, right? No, actually, some people can complain a lot. Like non-stop. But I think because we are a culture of leaders that we don't like to complain too much. So we feel like we say once or twice, we don't really want to go at it some more. And I think that is a good thing. It's a certain kind of good culture with resilience. But there's a bad part. But I will say also this period, I think our leaders have been trying to share. Actually, I've noticed a change in our messages. The past few weeks, the leaders have been sharing personal story.
Very
you can
thankful.
feel the whole room go,
I feel for you.
your sister shared about your dad.
Oh yes, I was like tearing.
I heard. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Then Edwin shared about his dad and
Yes.
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped those in the room who have families that are struggling with health right now. And then Regina shared also about her hard year
Yeah.
just as last week.
Yes.
But then again, it's ironic, right? Because our team has a real hard problem with this as leaders. We don't know how to be vulnerable sometimes. We don't
And
know how
lean
much
on one another very hard.
and to tell the congregation that we're struggling.
Yes, it's very challenging.
But I think they did it well. They didn't overshare, I don't think. But they shared enough that I think the church felt a bit more together because suddenly they saw the people on the pulpit. Yeah. So it's a weird thing. I don't know what the rules are for being vulnerable. It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's not a science. It's a relational art.
True.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, but back to this.
Yes.
Like you were saying, right? What is... How do, the people who are ashamed and happy with things are, what do they do?
Oh, yes.
Don't go back to work.
Speak up.
Yeah. Okay, but you had a question, right? How do we have some degree of...
Yes, how do we have some degree of certainty in so much uncertainty? Because I guess that a lot of the decisions people make is out of the fact that they feel they are not in control of the decisions.
Yeah, whichever your action, right? Withdrawal.
Or even
feeling
like
ashamed.
trying to change things out is like, I want to take charge of my life and I got to decide what I want to do and not let external things decide for me.
I think we overestimate how much control we have over life.
We overestimate everything.
Oh, you were saying that? What was
We
it? Amy
overestimate.
Cuddy
Yes.
said? Yeah, what
Yeah,
did
because
she say?
Amy Cuddy said that as humans, we kind of overestimate our emotions, be it good things or bad things.
Yeah.
So if we are to think about, like, say, a good thing, like opening up, meeting up friends, how happy on a scale of 10 would you feel? And then humans tend to overestimate, like 8
We're
or
gonna feel
9.
amazing, and then we meet each other and we're disappointed.
Yeah, and then they're disappointed that, oh, yeah. Same thing with bad emotions, which is they overestimate that I'm going to be very stressed and very depressed for a very long time, when actually not really.
Yeah, what did Zuhan say? He said 71% of anxieties never come to pass. And 90 something of our anxieties are like, it turns out to be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? But when you're in it, you don't feel it lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think we overestimate human beings how much control we have over life. And I think especially this pandemic, it really brings home the fact that we have so little control. We have so much and yet we have so little. Like, I don't think we can control bad things. I think we can just control how we respond to it, hopefully, or do our best. But I think we need to be aware that we are probably overestimating or underestimating ourselves at any given time when we are feeling chaotic and our adrenaline is surging. Yeah. But I think there is ways to create some structure, which is what we're trying to do in church right now as leaders. I was telling them this week that what we're going to do is try to create enough anchoring points for the rest of the year, because there's so many changes going on, like, and flexible structure. Like, within that simple skeleton that we have for the rest of the year, we make sure that things are interchangeable, like in a very simple way. Like, certain dates are going to stay the same, but what we do on those dates might change. I think it's important to structure your life with what works for you. So I think if you're feeling happy at home, don't feel guilty lah. Like, just be lah. Because some of us, right, we need to be in person to be productive at the office.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
some of us, our work, you know, the moment we have some targets to hit at home, well, okay, we get it done 9 to 5 and we're good. Some of us need a mix. I think I need a mix. For you?
A mix.
Probably a mix, right? And I think that's because our job is... Some things we need to be here.
Yes.
Other things, like working
We
on
need our own
sermon,
space.
we need like stay away from me and like lock down.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on you. It depends on your job. But I do think you cannot, in this chaotic situation, structure your life only around you. Because I think if you structure your life only around you, your structure will never be stable. Because you can't extricate yourself from the world or from people.
Yeah.
So you have to build in some sort of like synergy with the people that you're around now. So now when I think of structure, I always think like, how can I integrate what works for the people I live with, what works for my team, so that we all can have the best of whatever worlds and find a way for it to work for everybody lah. So I think that's the first thing lah, creating that, but not a rigid structure, more like anchor points, so that when the wind blows, when the waves come, you can flex, but the anchor point keeps you stable enough.
Yep.
Stable enough, yeah. Was there a second thing I wanted to say? Yes.
Yes.
About the people who are stuck at home. So the people who are enjoying being at home too much, right? Just one thing I want to say to you, right? Maybe just be very careful of what I call shadow security. Because I think sometimes, right, we, in chaos, some of us latch on to things that feel stable in our life as quickly. It's like trying to hold on to a life raft. Now, you need a life raft in order not to drown, correct, when you're out in the open sea. But the life raft is not getting to land. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing I noticed, right, so this is just a very sweeping generalization. Most of the people who are enjoying work from home are the phlegmatics or people with a phlegmatic inclination, like secondarily in their lives. That's what I found. So yeah, because you all enjoy stability and security and like comforts and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that's cool.
Yes.
But you want to be very careful that you're not hanging on to a life raft and giving up, for example, socialization. Because what I've noticed from all the phlegmatics who say, I love working from home, I don't really want to come out anymore. The moment they come out and they hang out with the group, they're suddenly like, oh wait, this is so much better. So that part lah. Just be careful that you don't hang on to shadow securities and you actually create real good changes in your life.
Yes. And have real joy and connection with people.
Yes. We had a really great weekend this week.
Yes, we had MT and then we had gathering and then
Yeah,
we have
MT
the
stands for?
ministry training for our new
Yes.
people.
Yeah, but that's the one in our church that really you learn the most about our church, I think.
Yes,
about our community. Our
yes,
church,
you
our
really feel
community.
connected and you
Yeah.
know what we stand for and everything.
Yeah, our culture, our
Values,
our
vision.
stories.
Yeah, stories.
Yeah, so your friend was on a high after the weekend.
Oh.
Because we had one day, a full Saturday of classes
Yes.
where we just told story after story after story about our church, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then after that Sunday we had another thing.
Yes, we had gathering. My friend preached.
Yes, and she did such a great job. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did a great job. And then after that, we had one session, a final one,
Oh yeah. Correct.
and then
correct.
it was like the
The long
climax
game.
of the whole entire NT.
I know it was because we had worship and prayer.
And it was really good.
Yeah, and prophecy. We should have moved in for real.
It's a familiar, like a familiar feeling that we haven't had.
Yeah,
for
man. And
a
then we
while.
nailed it just before going into regulations. Okay, can. Yeah, so how do you feel? You felt better?
Yes.
How long did the better last?
I think I feel better the past few weeks, so I can't tell.
Okay, can. I'm surprisingly not getting as much out of it as I hope. But that's because I'm a bit low right now. Because even like doing this, I love it, it's creative. But I'm not getting as much out of it as I did last year at the moment. Yeah, but I think that's just me lah. Okay, so anyway, right, because we had this ministry training. So Saturday we had all the stories and stuff like
Yes.
that. And that was very good. Cause I think that sparks gratitude. Listen to the
Yes.
last episode. And then after that, I found myself the next moment forgetting the feeling. And then Sunday I came in, and of course we had an amazing session, and then we had the prophetic word and everything.
Yeah.
Which was very good. And then the next moment, I felt like I forgot again. And then Monday, right, I was like struggling with thoughts of like, oh my God, are we doing the right thing? How do we get ourselves stuck in this position where it's COVID? We're supposed to launch church and not launching. And this is straight after ministry training. Seriously. Yeah, but so I wrote that down, right, for this podcast. Yeah, I wrote it over here in my notes.
Yes.
And then as I wrote it down, I was talking about forgetting. And I wrote down what you said during your mentoring session
On
about
Saturday.
that one time I told you, remember what faith feels like.
Yeah.
And then while I was writing this down, suddenly Jing Xiang texted me and he sent me the MP3 of the prophecy that I gave on Sunday
How prophetic.
about the greater fool. That like, remember that you are the leaders of this generation and blah, 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 blah. I said this long prophecy lah. Which is very funny. And I think it's moments like this, right? It's really weird. It's like, was that God?
It is.
Was that God? Yeah, okay. So I think this season, I think being leaders and core in church has definitely been hard.
Yeah.
I think being the leaders and core of a church, especially as a community that dreams a lot, that has this idea of so others can have better and let's build a better future, is really hard during COVID. I think it's already hard and not
Yes.
during normal circumstances. And then when you plan to launch the church and you get stuck in this COVID situation, it's very tricky lah. I remember saying once, I think last year when we were doing this dinner party episode where we were talking about the history of church, right? I remember saying once that our church, I feel like somehow has just always been birthed in pain. We started the community services work with no money in Geylang,
Yeah.
struggling to love youth there. Then when we started the church, 2 weeks later, Zhen Xuan, one of our leaders, got into an
yes.
accident. And then for the first year of our official launch of the church, we were grieving and then we grew. And then now we're about to like relaunch church and then bam, COVID. It's like, it's very easy sometimes, I think, to feel God is with us. And yet maybe he's not. Are we sure?
True.
So it's been very, very interesting. But I think the thing that you said on Saturday during your session, very funnily, really hit me quite hard. Like that you have to make the effort to remember what faith feels like. Yeah. And
that's what you said.
I know, it's what I said, but I don't remember that. Yeah, so I think it's an effort, remembering. Gratitude is an effort.
Yeah.
Remembering and I think when your adrenaline is fatiguing you out, remembering is very tricky on the memory. So
It's true.
yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but I do think which I guess will segue into the next section later, which is we gotta learn how to regulate our body this season in order to be able to remember gratitude, in order to remember what faith feels like, in order to control our thoughts and stop it from running amok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that said, I would say that PC, even though we been through COVID 2 years and all that, but I guess with everything that we're doing in church has been very deliberately planned. Even the changes that we want to make, or the cultures that we're still being very, very deliberate with what kind of culture and what kind of future we want to build, and not just reacting to every change there is, but being very
deliberate about transition. Yeah.
and doing our best, I guess, to not react in fear or react in anxiety.
Yeah lah, but it definitely is cutting it to the bone right now lah. It's yeah, but I guess that is the result of the scaffold effect. Like we're at that down period. And I think we'll just keep reminding ourselves we will survive. And we will make it through, and we will get where we're going. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I think like Jing Xiang sending me the MP3 was very helpful. I think just before we met, I spent like just listening to it. Like it is weird, right? Hearing your words sit back to you. I've had a lot of that, I think, these past 2 years, right? Where I think my brain and mind is so tired. And then when I hear y'all say something that I said to you, I'm like, oh, I said that. And then it's almost as though, and I think Regina has had this experience too, and she had to preach pre-record, and then she saw herself preaching, and suddenly she said something in the sermon
that spoke back to her.
Spoke back to her. She went, oh my God, I need to do Yeah, I've had a lot of that experiences this year. So I think whatever it takes, remember, especially if you're a leader or core member out there, or someone who's holding up your team or your office or your friends or your family, like find ways to remember, find ways to remind yourself.
So true.
Yeah. According to a CDC study in America, most COVID patients are succumbing to death, right, due to something called comorbidities. Now, you've probably heard this term in Singapore quite a lot. So they are exercising a lot of caution with people who have pre-existing conditions like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. Now, what's very interesting about this American study, right, is what they found is the number 2 comorbidity you've got to watch out for that contributes to death in COVID is actually anxiety.
Wow.
Interesting, right? So I think the first one is heart disease. I can't recall exactly. But above diabetes, above high blood pressure, above all other things, if you get anxiety, too much anxiety, it will contribute to death. Now, what's also interesting is when they studied this, the people who fall into this bracket, right, they found that it's not people who were diagnosed with like anxiety or general anxiety before COVID that were of concern, but majority of them actually fell into people who got anxiety during COVID.
Oh.
Okay, now let me caveat this by saying it is very easy to interject what you want to see into stats and surveys and studies. But I think when I heard this, right, it really gave me pause, and it should give you pause that literally anxiety and fear can lead to you dying. I mean, it's crazy, right? That it ranks this high on the list of what determines whether you survive COVID or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, of course, a lot of other things are in play now because we've got vaccinations and stuff. Yeah, but so what we wanted to really nail down for this episode is to talk about how anxiety can be very problematic for our body.
Yeah.
And it's also, I was at this workshop with Dr. Robbie Sonderegger, who's a psychologist. And he was talking about how anxiety is also the fuel for anger and depression during COVID, which is why we're seeing so much mental health issues, so much anger on social media, for example, so much complaining in Singapore.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think what happens is we are really holistic beings. So if you haven't listened to our episode Body, the Mind, right, we talk about this quite a bit, that yes, anxiety starts in our thoughts, but in order for us to take control of our lives, we do have to start taking control of our body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just remembered that, PC, as you're talking about anxiety, I remembered like this research, but I can't find it, which is like they found out that in World War that a lot of people died of anxiety more than
Fear,
Just fear and anxiety and anxiousness.
then the war itself.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I think if you're in a state of heightened alert, right, which is what happens in war, or low-grade heightened alert, which is what is happening during COVID, your entire system begins to suffer a lot. So our director was asking me right during break just now, like what exactly is going on? What do you mean we die of fear? Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see, what happens is our body, right? There's something called the brain and body matrix.
Oh.
Okay, which means, okay, so for example, in this situation, it starts with our thoughts. We start to worry, right, about the unknown and what we can't control during COVID, about our future, about our life. But what happens is those thoughts of worry begin to trigger our amygdala in our brain, that little almond-sized thing in the middle of our brain that controls our feelings. And that's when we start to feel fear. So fear is a feeling, it's an emotion, okay? And then what happens is the amygdala, because of fear, triggers a release of hormones, one of which is adrenaline. And adrenaline turns stuff in our body into sugar for energy. And that's where we get our fight, flight, or freeze mode. Okay?
Yes.
So we are designed, right, really, as human beings, as evolution, when we were designed to have that in order to run away from predators and survive, lah. But we are not designed to stay in it long term. So what happens is we've been in a pandemic for 1.5 years in anxiety mode, amygdala firing, adrenaline rushing. And so that's why first year we have trouble sleeping. Well, even now, every time changes happen, I've noticed second week, people start to tell me they're having trouble sleeping because adrenaline is surging. So we can't sleep during the night. Then we're tired during the day. And then that begins what we call a domino effect in the brain-body matrix. That means we're tired, that affects our thoughts, then our thoughts affect our feelings, and then it affects our biology some more. And so the fallacy is that people think to take control of your thoughts, you just need to think positive thoughts.
Yeah.
But really, the way into changing your thoughts is to start changing your body chemistry, to calm the body down and to calm the feelings down enough so that you can begin to think clearly and take control over your thoughts.
So basically, the best way to intercept is through the body.
Yes.
Or should we just intercept it on all 3 angles?
I mean, have you ever tried to intercept your thoughts when you're anxious? It's impossible, right? I mean, have you ever tried? It's challenging. Yeah. So that is why, I guess, even in therapy, right? That's why we do have to sometimes have medication to calm it down or calm the system down to even begin to be able to
take
control and sort out our feelings.
It's true.
So we really need to do that. So if you haven't listened to that episode, please go listen to
Helpful.
Body Your Mind. But we thought we also give you some extra stuff, which I picked up from Dr. Robbie, that he shared.
Yes.
Yeah. So the base. Okay. So first thing he says, you need to start by building a good foundation, which starts with taking care of your physical health and the food that you take in. That it does make a difference. Yeah, so unfortunately, when you're stressed, eating potato chips is not really helpful.
Yes.
So the first food that he advocates for is chicken. So which I didn't know this. I didn't know this at all. Yeah,
I didn't know too.
Yeah, because he said chicken has tryptophan. So poultry is very important when you are anxious.
It makes you happy?
No, it has tryptophan, which then helps your brain produce serotonin, which is the thing that
makes you calmer and happy.
Yeah. And then there was Dr. Anita.
Oh, yes.
Who said almonds.
Yes.
Yeah, that actually works for me. When I have trouble sleeping, if I eat almonds or I drink almond milk, but it's bad for the environment, so be very careful with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so that actually is really helpful. Salmon also is helpful because of the omega-3s. It helps with your brain a little bit.
Do you think our body will crave for those things?
I think so, stressed? I do think so. Yeah, but then we also crave potato chips.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. What
do you want? Yeah. So physical health and food.
Yeah.
Second one.
Sunlight.
Which you totally get.
Yes, I get.
Yeah.
So sunlight will give you vitamin D. So it's good to kind of start the day exposing your body, your eyes to sunlight. And it will actually help activate your
pituitary gland.
Thank you, PC. that will regulate your hormones in your body.
Yeah, this was funny. He said that, so like when we see really bright sun, we tend to want to put on our sunglasses. He said actually if you just for a second expose your eyes and look directly into the sun, the glaring sun, research has shown, right, it triggers receptors in your eyes that trigger the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland basically is the thing that regulates your adrenaline. So it will release hormones that bring your adrenaline down.
Wow.
Yeah, so go look at the sun, stare at the sun.
Did he say morning sun or noon sun?
Oh, generally, yes, morning sun is good. But he said this one is glaring sun. Like a moment of glaring sun will help to reset your system. Yeah.
Wow.
Number 3.
Exercise.
Yes.
Go for a quick run.
Tense and okay, he said right, tense and release, which is very interesting. Well, we do this,
did
right?
that.
We did with the tension and release
Yes.
exercise in 21-day fast.
Yes.
We teach our people to breathe. Well, breathe is very helpful also. So there's something called box breathing, which Navy SEALs use.
Yes, 4 counts.
4 counts in, hold 4 counts, 4 counts out.
out, hold 4 counts.
Yeah. Then if you pair that with tension and release, which is something my therapist taught me, to like tense different parts of your body. When you breathe in, hold it, and then release. It actually triggers the calming down of your body. Another way to do it is HIIT. Yeah, or very quick sprint. So it doesn't even take a 20-minute run. This automatically will help your system. Yeah. Next one.
Socialization. Care about someone other than yourself.
Yes, that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, we always feel better, right, when we care about somebody else. Takes us out of our own head.
Yeah, I guess like when you give love, you also just
Yes.
feel love somehow.
So
Yeah.
go and be kind, people. Number 5, sleep.
Yes, sleep.
Yeah, he gave all this list of things to do, which is very hard to do in Singapore lah. Like he said, like black out the whole room. Singapore like, lights on forever, you know. And then like make sure cool the room to a comfortable temperature. Like Singapore also very difficult if you don't have air conditioning.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so but do your best lah.
Yes.
But he said no caffeine, no coffee, tea after 3 p.m.
Oh.
Both of us broke that rule today.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in trouble tonight. Okay, number 6.
Spiritual. Mental health is correlated to belief in a higher power that cares and is good.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Brene Brown said the same thing in her book. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So to some degrees, I guess Christian, you do have a leg up
Yep.
a little bit. So we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
Number 7, find 4 people to share with. Okay, this is where he said not people to just coddle you. And like, oh, you poor thing. Right? Gotta be like people who love you but hold you accountable. And 4, he said, is a good number because they share the load. Sometimes we can be tiring on people. Yeah. Okay, so finding people to be with and share problems is good because oxytocin gets released in our body, which is a hormone for warmth and bonding. Now, I know most social media now associate it only with sex, but it actually doesn't have that much to do with sex all the time. It's when you have affectionate in-person touch
Connection
with
with
somebody.
someone.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're suffering also this period. We're not allowed to touch each other. We have masks. We can't hug.
With social distancing.
Yeah, so that actually is contributing to why human beings are feeling quite low. Lack of connection, lack of bonding.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8.
Number 8 is to get grounded, to be present. So there are a few ways you can do, like breathing, we talked about just now. You can do like 5 senses exercise. I guess that is like to feel,
Yes. What
To
can you
see, what can you smell?
what can you touch? Yeah. So the idea is to get you out of your own head and to be present lah, to shut down your dopamine response basically. So when I was in therapy, actually this is a theater exercise. It's not even necessarily just theater. My therapist would tell me close your eyes and then name 5. No, it starts with name 5 things you can see. And then you'll name objects in the room close to you. And then after that, it goes to close your eyes and then name 4 things that you can hear. And then you'll be surprised because you start to hear the aircon in the room, the cars outside of the room. 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can taste, 1 thing that you can feel. Yeah, it's meant to bring your body into the present moment.
The here and now.
The here and now. Yeah, basically. But he gave one very interesting one, which I think I must try. He said just take a raisin and roll it around in your mouth and describe how it feels and tastes, like focus on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and he said Roll the raisin around your mouth and do not allow yourself to chew it and swallow it for 2 minutes. And he said, you'll be shocked at how difficult this is.
Oh.
But it brings you into the present.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about the trolley thing.
Oh.
For another episode, proximity. Okay, never mind. Okay,
yes.
okay. Yes, we didn't talk about the trolley thing. Oh no!
No, it's the next one.
Episode. Okay, sorry. So wait for this. Okay, the trolley thing and the here and now.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, last one.
Last one is to police your thoughts.
Yeah, so that's the goal,
Thoughts.
right, of everything. Police your thoughts.
Okay,
so he says
that worrying is addictive. It's like scratching of a mosquito bite.
such a good metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Right? It feels good in a moment, but it's super bad for you.
After that, yes.
Yes. So worry is addictive. So he recommended giving worry limits, a specific time, finite amount of time to worry. So he actually will schedule his worry. And usually he said he schedules it at 3 p.m. in the day because it's the time of the day where you don't have time to worry too much because you've got transit into something else in your day. And so he will give himself 1 hour to sit down and worry and write down what exactly he's worried about and what he can do about it.
Every day.
When he's worried about something lah. Yeah, when he's worried about something.
Wow.
Yeah. I recommend reflection, which I teach the evolution of peeps to do.
Yeah.
I give a 3-step thing lah, basically, right? To think about and write down what you are feeling, which is identify the emotion and the feelings that you are having. And this one I really recommend using an emotion wheel, which you can download from the internet.
Yes.
Yeah, because you'll be surprised, right? Most people, you ask them about their emotion, they say angry, sad, happy. And they cannot, but angry, sad has so much. You could be discouraged, you could be disappointed with someone, you could be grieving. Yeah, so you need to figure out what you're feeling. The second question I ask people to do is to answer the question, why am I feeling that way? Trace it to what's the reason. Okay, and then the third thing to do is my assessment of those things correct? Is that really why? Or is there something else that I'm struggling with deep down inside? So these 3 questions lah. Yeah, because sometimes we're angry with somebody and we say, oh, this person's not meeting my needs. It's a very general assessment. Then if you stop to reflect, is this really true? Then you realize, wait, that's not true. This person is meeting my needs in 9 other ways. But there's this one thing that I'm not happy with. And why is it? Why am I unhappy? Am I being ungrateful? Or is it a need that I really need met and I need to communicate it with that person? And then it just takes down everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So those are the 3 questions I ask people to reflect. And the final thing he recommended is journaling. Yeah. So journaling, he says, taking the mess and the chaos in your brain and ordering it on paper.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, do those things. And I hope you guys feel better. We will get through this.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. And hopefully not make too many drastic changes.
Yes.
Good changes.
Good changes.
Yeah. Okay lah. So that's it for today.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.